In the summer of 2001, U.S. Senator Jesse Helms did a bold and courageous thing. Following extended conversations with Franklin Graham and the well-known singer and activist Bono, he publicly announced that he had underestimated the scope of the AIDS crisis on the continent of Africa. The senator vowed that from that point on, he would do all he could to raise support for and awareness of the critical need for both funds and volunteers to relieve the suffering. Senator Helms has retired from the Senate, but he wanted to do one last thing as a public figure. He wanted to fulfill his promise to do all he could to give the children of Africa hope for a better future by challenging us to do all we can.
I want to talk to you today about the difference one individual, one family, one small group, one church can make in pushing back a crisis that threatens to destroy entire populations in Africa. Now let me give you the statistics about a scourge far deadlier than any plague in human history, and then tell you why you must do all you can to help. Today, 450 million people live with HIV/AIDS. 9 out of 10 of those people are in countries with the fewest medical resources. 3/4 of them live in sub-Saharan Africa. And in the next 24 hours, 5,500 of them will die, and another 1,400 will be born with the infection already passed to them by their mothers. Now, we cannot grasp such figures, so I ask you not to try, but instead to imagine how you would respond if a deadly illness was sweeping your community, your neighborhood, or your family. Now, imagine if this disease was attacking the most innocent babies and children, and faithful men and women living upright lives. Of course you would act. You would pray, and you would do the best you could to mobilize, to do all you could to help. And that's exactly what I'm asking you to do for your neighbors in Africa who need to see the compassion of Christ in the care of His people right now. Now, every small act of kindness matters. The result can be dramatic. In Uganda, where volunteers have worked with the government to improve education and provide medical care, the rate of infection has plunged, and families are prospering as never before. In individual communities across the sub-Saharan region, where missionaries and short-term mission teams have come to work alongside of local believers, orphaned children are being cared for and rescued from the cycle of illness and death that once seemed their certain fate. Now, what can you do? First, resist the urge to turn away. Think of the individuals, not the statistics. Mother Teresa once said, "Whenever I look into the eyes of someone dying of AIDS, I have an eerie awareness that Jesus is staring back at me." Now remember Jesus' words to His disciples. When you care for the least of these, you care for me. And then share what you have. Do you have enough volunteers to form a short-term mission team that can assist a local missionary with construction of a school or medical clinic? Do you have resources to help with supplies for one school or one clinic, or to help one community begin a micro business that will completely change their economic future? Can you help feed or clothe just one child who cannot go to school without these basics? Will your budget stretch to include a monthly gift to help provide life-saving medicines for young mothers and their babies? Are you willing to pray for God's mercy on those who suffer, especially the children, many of them ill with AIDS themselves, who are left alone to bury their parents with no one to comfort them? Without our help, who will in turn bury those children and their unrealized dreams of a life without constant reminders of sickness and death? Much attention has been paid to increasing government assistance to African nations, and I support that. But the best government program is no match for the impact God's people can make if they understand the need and the resolve to follow our Savior's lead in going to the rescue of those who are perishing. Each of us, all of our churches, must do something. We dare not avert our eyes. In the name of Christ, for the sake of His kingdom, please help.
For more information on how you can get involved as a volunteer or provide support for those who can serve in your place, contact one of these outstanding organizations, or ask your missions leader how you might organize your own outreach or short-term mission team. The need is enormous, but by God's grace, God's people are up to the task. For additional copies of this presentation, available at no charge, contact the Jesse Helms Center at 704-233-1776, extension 1, or visit www.jessehelmscenter.org.